Hi, I'm Chase, and this is my first one of these, so be gentle. But this is my journal. Um, so, just a few things. I have never done this, and I don't necessarily think that my art is the best. I just um, want to learn more than anything. I want a learning experience. And I think sharing my learning with other people is some of the coolest thing you can do. And then I also have a way to document it in the long run, not just through the journal, but through something that's um, always going to be there. The internet is always something that you can find and see. So I wanted to not only have a physical copy, but something that I could hold on to digitally as well. So I'll just get into the journal and we can just have a look at some of the pieces together and see kind of what my process is. So, as you see, living at mum and dad's. So I put like a pocket in my journals most of the time just to keep like little extra pieces of paper that I want or anything like that I kind of feel like I would like to accompany with the journal, like references or just cool images, offcuts of paper, anything really. This first page is about the Australian landscape, seeing as though I just moved back in with my parents, seeing as though I had a divorce recently, and I moved back in with my parents who live in the Australian outback kind of area. They live in like rural kind of Australia. Um so looking out the window, I'm always seeing these like rolling hills, like gum trees and things like that. And I was thinking about like famous painters like Tom Roberts and a couple of others that are really famous over here, um, which we done a full kind of lecture on in art school about how the European settlers actually took quite some time to get the actual atmosphere of an Australian landscape. Um, Although the natives were doing that for thousands of years, they were doing their own sorts of paintings and capturing it in their way. So I was kind of just discussing in my journal like my thoughts and feelings about how the landscape is depicted. Um, there's a lot of discussion that could be done about that, so I won't get too much into it. But it was just like a short kind of love letter to the Australian landscape. Um, the next page is just a bird. I do not draw birds. I This is completely out of my comfort zone. As you can see, I try and date everything. This is actually from a book. I'll put it on screen somewhere when I find it, but it's in the bookcase. It's a book that my dad's had for a very long time, and I kind of just flipped it open just to give myself something like refreshing to draw. Sometimes that can just help, but I know I'm not great at it, and it's just something to do. I saw this reference quite some time ago, as you see, like July ish. I am not I'm not great at drawing, um, but I just wanted to give watercolor a go and just be a bit more freeing as well. This is when I just really needed to not focus on the specifics of things. I just needed just to get something on paper because I just felt so much stress in my life that I just needed something um, as an outlet more so. Um, Oh yeah, next piece is something from my imagination. I didn't really use reference. I think I might have used a vague reference. That's why things are a bit jank. And I just wanted to like add some color to something and just you know make something a bit more happy and lighthearted, I guess. Next, I like done half a face, but then I forgot where the reference was, so I stopped. That one was from Imagination, as you could tell. It's terrible. This one, this one is from the creator of Death Note, Takashi Obata. So it's from Platinum End. I just had the manga like sitting beside me while I was unpacking my things from moving house, and I picked it up and I thought I may as well try and reference it. And I'd had this problem with drawing recently that I would just keep erasing and erasing and erasing lines, and I would never stick to it. I would just keep erasing lines and I would never get anywhere. So I just went in with a texter, like with what is it even called? A brush pen, sorry. I went in with a brush pen and just laid down something just to get me to start drawing again. Because my confidence had just all disappeared and I needed to do at least something. So that's what that's about. This is just trying to do a bit of looking at multiple characters in the same space. I haven't really done that before. So it's just like a quick outline and like just throwing down some like really loose shadows and things like that, just to, you know, like a movie poster-esque kind of deal. Sorry if you can hear the bird in the background. I think the same deal with this one as well. Yeah, there's the same kind of deal. This one, the next like sequence of drawings actually go like from here on. The sequence actually kind of isn't in order anymore because I had an idea and I messed around with it a lot, and I took spare pages and things like that and stuck them on the left side and other things so I could still use up more of my journal space and not have it so blank. This wasn't done from reference. It was just a very loose kind of idea kind of thing. And I'll explain that more as you see here. So I'm a really big JoJo's fan. And Araki is very, very influenced by songs and Western media. So I'm listening to this song called Come Together, but it's a cover of Come Together, by the way, by the Beatles. So I had this idea of this character based on that, like a stand based on Come Together. And that's where these like quick mind map ideas come from. I thought, you know, if it's to do with the if it's anything to do with the Beatles, I kind of feel it's in that psychedelic kind of era of the late 1960s. So I wanted to like incorporate tie-dye and drug use into it. Thinking like British, half-lidded eyes, because, you know, they're obviously into psychedelics. I had a couple of ideas around it, and I kind of done a bit of research to go along with it. That's just me experimenting with tie-dye and how to do so on paper, because I wanted to make a tie-dye shirt. So I experimented a couple of times trying to get it right. It took me a fair few goes, actually, because it's not as straightforward as I thought it would be. So I had to wet the page a lot, and then, of course, use watercolor paper, because on the previous page, I didn't, and it was really bad. That's just a quick kind of shitty sketch. This was something completely else, because sometimes I need a break if I'm doing... I'll just pause here for a sec. If I'm doing like a whole lot of one thing, I'll get very tunnel visioned about something. So I kind of need to break things up a little so that I can get like fresh perspectives on what I'm doing. So this is just that. Something really simple just to keep my mind off it. Same with like, yeah, that was just, yeah. Um, so this was, I think, my actual original sketch. Sorry, I'll. This was my original sketch of what I thought that would represent come together. And this one on the left side is another revision of like uh, perhaps a pose that I could work with. And you can see the reference photo above, like it's combining a little bit of the two. Um, as I said, I'm not that great at drawing, but I just wanted to kind of get a feel for what it was. Um, I think the next page is also related. Yeah. Um, more visual representation pages have come together. I actually, after I watched one of Jazza does arts drawings, he works through a process of having random words and coming up with a character based on that. I think it was an archer from Egypt. Um, and he kind of allowed me to kind of explore that idea in a better way. Like, actually capture. It just gave me some more understanding. Um, so there's a reference photo underneath. This is what I mean about how everything is kind of all over the place. Um, yeah, so more watercolor and still the hippie ideas. On the right side, there was just a breakup. This is my research. This is the lyrics on that side. Sorry, I'll just go back for a sec before I turn that page. So on this side is obviously all the like British culture's being made fun of a lot at the moment, like with how they pronounce things and their teeth and things like that. That has been made fun of for ages in a lot of other kind of countries that know Britain very well, Australia and like so forth. Um, Mainly countries that were more recently colonized by Britain. And I mean, Australians are shit stirrers in the first place, so we've kind of always made fun of Britain. It just seems that the world is kind of catching up a little bit with the meme culture. This is just more like reference and ideas. Like, new versus old is like what new tie dye kind of looks like in the current era. Because it's definitely, I feel like it's changed a lot since. You have more of like the older, more traditional, like looking like hippie styles, and then you have like the new, more chic styles that you would see in a department store anywhere around this country. Um, so obviously my reference to Iraqi and the beautiful man up there. Um, Pictures of Kira because I think he's freaking amazing. Down the bottom is Iraqi's exhibition, a picture from Iraqi's exhibition at the Louvre, and just a little reference sketch that I've done there. Sam, actually, my ex-partner, pointed out to me that Come Together sounds gay, and I was like, that's really interesting that you say that. Did Iraqi not do so because it sounds gay? Um, and I mean, Japan is not overly accepting of GLBTIQ. I know Iraqi has actually spoken out and said that he is actually an advocate for, um, the community. Um, but for the most part, the whole of Japan is kind of playing catch up with the rest of the world in terms of acceptance. So it might be a little less. It might be not as popular if he made such a thing happen. So that might be one of the reasons why he doesn't have one. But also, it's his creativity. Like I can't, you know, I can't say anything about it. This is just more research on Come Together, the 60s era, the 70s era, and what psychedelics people were taking, all that kind of thing. This is a really late at night sketch. Just when I just was like, let me just draw something a bit random. Just with like interesting shapes. Same with this one. Just something interesting. This I done from reference. Can't find the reference. I do that a lot, by the way. I can't find the reference for half the things I draw sometimes. That reference, obviously, from Instagram. I try and keep the names in as much as possible. I can't read that. I think it's Ifred Jiang. I can't pronounce Asian names very well, so I'm very sorry for that if I pronounce something wrong. He has a huge, interesting thing. This is Sakuna. It's popular. Same with this. Couldn't find the reference, but I did use one. This was after listening to Marc Burnet, an art teacher on YouTube, saying that you need to understand perspective in order to get a really good understanding of drawing. And this is me just trying to draw cubes again. I've been to art school. I wasn't very good at any of the perspective work, and probably hence why I failed art school. But, I'm trying my best, and I've been determined, even though, like, I stopped art school in 2017, I think, and I haven't stopped drawing since. I'm still trying to improve, and I think that's the important part about it, is that if you have a passion, I think no matter what you do, you should keep going and improving and learning. And I think YouTube has helped me tremendously with that. Just more sketching, taking reference. I had like a couple of ideas on OCs, and I just wanted to do something a little different as well. Just design some clothing. I know it's probably a bit rude to do so, but it was something interesting that I just wanted to take a break. And I have a great interest in Asian culture, so I kind of wanted to draw something inspired by it. I have this character here that you can see on screen, and I wanted to kind of dress him in kind of a lavish kind of dress, like in a more Asian styled clothing. Again, 3 point. I think it's 1 point perspective. I don't know. Mark again. This is just doing life drawing just to try and get more practice on that. I'm mapping the way that Ethan Becker tells his kind of students to do so, with that like favor-sided triangle that he talks about like incessantly, which I absolutely love. He's a character. At first I wasn't sure like about him, but no, he's really great. Like, you can tell he is passionate about teaching, and he's got a personality, which is the thing that matters most, right? Is like in YouTube, you really have to have like a massive personality, and it helps that he's widely successful, and he really knows what he's on about. And his drawings are fantastic. Like, he's got so much insight into the industry, and but he's not afraid to kind of put that out there in a very Ethan Becker-y kind of way. I think that's the best way you can describe that. There's not really much else you can say. It's probably not a great study, but I try my best. And sometimes I find myself running out of running out of room on a page, I'll start drawing something, and I'll find I've got no more room. I've got very bad very bad uh, perception, I guess. So yeah, that's where that comes from, and I'm trying to practice perfectly, not practice perfect, if you know what I mean, and not do like so much practice, but do the important parts of practice where I can. Yeah, and this is another same thing. Ethan Becker, like, what a mad lad. That's come together on the right, and the left is just a larger study. That's come together also. I couldn't pull this page out. I done a fully like kind of rendered thing. I didn't really like this. I don't think it captures too much of the essence of the character. Also, it just is a little hard to read. I think characters should be easy to read at first glance. Like, instantly, you have to know what you're looking at if it is a character. And seeing as though I like want to draw in a more anime kind of style, that's especially true for anime. And I don't think I have that nailed here. And that's ultimately why it goes in the journal and not as a finished piece, because it's just not. It's not easily legible. It's so muddy, and the character's face, you can't even see it. There's no details, and you can't really get a sense for what's going on. Even though I was advised by other people that it was fantastic, and I just I didn't really like it. Uh, this is my break time from Come Together as well. This is just drawing whatever I feel like at the time, because I just needed a bit of a break. This is just more pages of random stuff. Quick character kind of idea that I drew sitting outside in the summer. This has come together again. I was drawing it in like the Simpsons style, but a little bit more exaggerated, I guess. Um, I mean, yeah, it's not anatomically correct at all, and it definitely throws the perspective, because I mean, um, The Simpsons is very simplistic, uh, and I don't think my way of drawing the specific character fits that Simpsons esque style. So it didn't really work out as planned. I like the tie dye aspect though. That's like a direct copy. That, and they're just some random, really quick things. Um, the right page is. I'll pull up the reference on screen, but I was watching Japanese history of some shunga art and homosexuality in ancient Japan, and the person who uses, I think it's Lymphemy, uh, the person who pulls up all these images constantly uses this particular one when talking about that particular topic. So I really wanted to draw it because he looked real cute. So yeah, I'll get the reference as well on screen where I can. And what else have we got? Oh, just a random page of just observation stuff. This is a hand study for I like to plan Inktober so far ahead of Inktober, because usually I'm very lazy and I get caught up in what I'm doing at the time, and I don't actually set aside time. So this was one of my ideas for Crystal. Um, I have in my one of my older sketchbooks, like, there's a black background with like playing off reflections. So I wanted to give that another go in a different way, and this is just an exploration of that, like a quick kind of exploration. This is me just like screwing around with drawing geisha, um, just fabric folds and things like that. I wanted to get a sense of, just a bit of practice. I don't do clothing very often. I usually draw men without clothing, so I just wanted to get a bit of practice in for that. Uh, and they have a lot of interesting shapes to them, so I wanted to kind of get that ball rolling a little. As also for Inktober, this is one of the VTubers, and my fucking Copic marker was running out, so yeah. And I hated this. I hated this artwork so much, so I just stuck it in, and I was like, be done with it. So yeah, yeah. I actually drew this while in line for a COVID test. So and because I was just so bored, I was in the line for 7 hours, so I needed something to do. Another really quick sketch, just like throwing down ideas. I really want to draw a character with pink hair, I think. This was. I can't remember whose YouTube video it was from. I think Mark again. Although he did say, like, avoid straight lines like the plague, and I actually, yeah, I disagree. I'm more on the side of Ethan Becker on this, to use straight lines. Straight lines are like, I mean, curved lines are just broken down, like, are just exaggerated straight lines. Just put a curve in later if you really want to. Um, yeah. And the other side is perspective again. I thought that I may have left a flap for that. This is just a couple of quick sketches of faces and poses. This is from a yaoi. This is. I'm starting to try and get into digital drawing a bit more. And this is me experimenting with that. I put like a layer down on digital and then printed it, and experimented with using brush pens to make the lines a little bit more even, because I'm not used to digital drawing, and I think there's a bit of a problem with my tablet. So yeah, it's just me kind of trying to fix that a little bit, and the right side is colored, obviously, because I enjoy just coloring things every now and then. I think there's an alternate version on the other side, yeah, and I mean that's that's one of my first goes at digital drawing. It's horrendous. That's all I can say. Uh, I don't know if it's me. I don't know if it's like what I'm trying to do. The brush pen. I mean, the pen on the tablet. I have not a clue what I'm doing wrong, but I think it might just be practice. And I'm trying to put in hours now. And I think this is the end of the journal. This is just the back. Just playing around with a couple of ideas. My Inktober sheet. A random stickers that I find, and another pocket filled with random things. And yeah, that's my journal. Um, there's not much I can really say, except for I hope it's somewhat interesting about my process and how I kind of like the range of things that I look at. I'm widely interested in just a plethora of things. Like, I think that's just to do with like media, and in general, just soaking up so much YouTube content that I kind of have such a wide interest. I know it doesn't exactly reflect that so much in this particular journal, but I do have a lot of journals. I have over 100. I complete one every months, and they're about 120 pages. Um, so that's quite a few. As you can see here, it's like 11th of the 7th, 21 to the 23rd of the 9th, 21. Um, yeah, and that's my journal.